Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today's guest is Rola Ghaddar, who's here to share some valuable tips on maintaining a balanced diet throughout the holy month of Ramadan. As our eating habits often become less structured during this time, Rola is going to give insights on how to stay on track. Welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you so much because I have a lot of nutrition questions. Yes,
I'm ready.
Yes. Well, I think we can for sure congest them in shortly. But of course, a lot of people struggle with having a balanced diet.
True.
And some of them think that skipping breakfast or skipping lunch or skipping dinner is healthy for them, of course. And with Ramadan, what do you think is the perfect or almost perfect, let me say, diet?
So for me, I don't believe there's a perfect diet for everyone.
Yes.
I believe there's a diet that works for every one of us, and it has to be something that's personalized and that works for your life. But what I will share is guidelines, okay? And then everyone can see what from these guidelines they can take or they can incorporate into their lives. Because the idea of having something perfect always makes us feel like we're not doing enough, which is not a nice feeling, which is not very motivating. But whenever we focus on taking like 1 or 2 steps that are realistic for us, it's gonna make us a lot more motivated.
Love that.
So first, what I think a lot of people heard already is to like break their fast with dates and water or yogurt. Okay, I believe yogurt is a great drink to have during Ramadan because it's high in protein, it's high in probiotics, it will give us energy, it's great for the digestive system. So it's great to incorporate it either when we first break our fast or after iftar, if we're having a snack after, or if we're having a suhoor. And then, because we didn't eat all day, our stomach is a bit like tense. So we don't want to start with like giving it a big quantity or giving it things that are hard to digest. So we start with the soup usually because it's soft and creamy and it's easier to digest than other food, and like the heat will ease us into the rest of the meal. And after that, what I personally recommend is to look at everything on the table and then ask yourself, what is it that will give me the most satisfaction right now? Because enjoying our food in Ramadan is also very important. I'm an intuitive eating dietitian, and intuitive eating, we believe that if you're satisfied now, you will eat less later. So the more you enjoy one of like the items or one of the foods that you're having at iftar, the less you will snack, the less you will have cravings after. So that's why it's so important to choose like the thing that you're truly craving and that will give you satisfaction, and then enjoy it, like eat it mindfully, slowly, take breaks, not to like eat super fast, because our stomach needs like 15 minutes to send us messages to our brain. So if we're finishing the whole thing in 15 minutes, then we're not gonna get the messages. But if we take it slow, if we take like maybe between like the soup and the starter and then the main dish, like maybe 1 minute or 5-minute break, it will give us space to actually listen to the cues that our body is sending us.
Where were you yesterday? Because I fasted and I went to iftar, and you've answered my next question, which was how do we not overeat? And you've answered it by saying, start with the soup, eat mindfully, and I did not have any of those tips, and therefore I overate. So, which leads us on to our next question: where do you stand on skipping suhoor or having a balanced meal at 4 a.m.?
I definitely recommend having suhoor because it's so hard to take all the nourishment in just iftar, because our bodies need like the protein, the vitamins, the minerals. Also, our digestive system needs another meal in order to move. A lot of people deal with discomfort in their digestion during Ramadan, and skipping suhoor is one of the reasons. So I really recommend having something before you sleep. Like some people don't like to wake up. Even if you don't like to wake up, maybe before you sleep, have a nourishing snack or meal, or just see what works for you, because it can be a smoothie. It can be something that's maybe lighter on the stomach. It can be like yogurts and dates and maybe nuts, and then you can go to sleep. Or it can be a full-on nice breakfast meal. So it depends on what works for every person, but it's definitely recommended not to just have one meal, because this is when you will miss a lot of nutrients, and you will also affect the digestive system negatively, and maybe the metabolism as well, because we move our metabolism when we have another meal. What else? I think that's it.
That's it, yeah. So you recommend not to miss a word.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I can never go on my day without suhoor. Of course, although I do crash. But I would like to ask, we fast for like long hours, right? And then when we eat a lot, and we feel so full. We even feel bad about ourselves. So how can we avoid that feeling of feeling full and feeling bad about ourselves? Because like it comes hand in hand, like, you know, feeling full and satisfied, so like, you know, you're full, but then you as well feel bad.
So I think what you're mentioning is the guilt feeling that we have after the meal is done, and you're like, why did I eat this much? I'm so uncomfortable. I don't have willpower. And then we spiral into negative thoughts about ourselves. What I recommend in this case is curiosity. Okay, so we don't want to be like super harsh with ourselves. We want to understand why this happened. So why wasn't I able to eat mindfully, or take my breaks during my meal, or connect to my fullness, or even to choose the foods that feel good to me? This helps a lot. And maybe like a question that personally helps me a lot is, before I choose my meals, I ask myself, how do I want to feel after iftar? You know, because even for me, like, I'm a dietitian, I know all of these tips, and then one of the days I was very hungry, and I ate like from five different types of foods, and it was so hard to digest because it was a lot of different things to digest. So I couldn't sleep until 3 a.m. I had reflux. I didn't feel good at all. But how I dealt with it was, I was curious, like, why did I eat this much? What was the reason? And I just took note of what doesn't feel good for me. Like eating 5 items at the same meal is not gonna make me feel good. So after that, I'm like, okay, 3 things, you know, and it worked.
Interesting.
Because I dealt with it with curiosity and with a gentle approach, rather than being so harsh with myself, saying negative things about like my willpower, or
it's tricky though, right? Because you're presented sometimes with a buffet from around the world. Tricky one. Do you have buffet tips for us?
Yeah, I think Ramadan is the most challenging month.
Yes.
Because it's the month where we're exposed to so much food, and so much food that maybe we're not exposed to in other months.
Yes.
So we feel the sense of, I can eat this only now. You know, like, that's the only time where I can eat this food. So it makes connecting to your fullness a lot more challenging. So this is why I really recommend to focus on like satisfaction, like anjad. If we enjoy the food we're having, we're not gonna feel like, no, I have to finish everything. We're gonna be a bit more calm, and to remind ourselves, food will be there tomorrow. Food will not run away. I think that's also very important, to look at food with abundance and not scarcity. Because it's just psychologically we feel like we just like, this is our only opportunity, and we tend to eat more than we can. But for buffets, as you were saying, I would recommend the same things I said at the beginning, like the dates, the soup, and basically putting in your plate a smaller quantity than you would. Okay, so not filling your plate with a lot of food and then feeling like I have to finish everything. Like really look around, take a walk, check what do they have available, and then choose the things that are most satisfying for you, are nourishing, that will give you nourishment and pleasure at the same time. So really choose and then start with a small quantity. Okay, because this is your way to trick your mind to actually take a break. But if your plate is full, you're not taking that break. So you start with a small quantity, you sit down, you eat calmly and slowly, and then you're forced to take the break.
Conscious eating.
Conscious eating and breaks really, like, they're a game changer. Okay, so. And I know it's hard in Ramadan. This is why I'm saying force yourself by putting a small quantity in your plate, because when it's done, you have to ask yourself, like, do I still want?
Yeah.
Or I'm full? And if I want, like, also start with putting a small quantity. If you want to add more, like, don't overflood your plate with like so much food.
I hope we're all taking notes here.
I am in my head like, what am I gonna do when I'm gonna have iftar today? So as well, by the way, during Ramadan, a lot of people, and they think that they want to lose weight, but some lose weight, some gain weight.
True.
So for people who would want to lose weight, how can they do that? Because, like, you know, it's like iftar comes, and after that, like, you know, like dessert come, and then it's like suhoor comes. It's like there's no break.
Good question. It's not a hard one. No, I'll answer it. So I'll reintroduce myself. So I'm an intuitive eating dietitian. I don't know if you heard of this approach,
yes, of course.
but this approach is weight neutral. So we prefer not focusing a lot on weight as a goal, but rather as a result. You know, so focusing on the health habits rather than just saying I want to lose weight or I want to lose X amount of kilograms, because at the end of the day, weight is not a behavior. Weight is the result of our behavior. So what I would recommend in this case is to choose health behaviors that are realistic for you to stick with in the month of Ramadan. So it could be like, I want to add my vegetables. I want to have like my snack. I want it to be like a smoothie or fruits, or I want to exercise. I want to walk after iftar. I want to maybe walk before iftar. It depends on what works for every person, but focusing on the health behavior rather than the weight, because at the end of the day, Ramadan is a holy month, and the goal of it is very spiritual. So when we focus too much on weight and maybe counting calories and maybe feeling guilty about what we ate, this is going to take away our mental and emotional space, and we want that to really enjoy the like spirituality of this month. So what I'd recommend is health behaviors. Like, this is the way to go.
And then if you do those, you'd be proud of the fact that, okay, I've chosen my vegetables today, and that will make you feel good, even if you overeat the veggies. Like, that's no bad thing. You touched there on walking before or after iftar, and my question is there any recommended advice for when should we work out if we're fasting, and when is the optimum time? Is there advice on that?
I think this is also one of the very challenging things in Ramadan.
Yes.
Because before iftar, you'd be like maybe tired, maybe you don't have energy. And after iftar, if you overate, you're going to be like, I can't move. So like what I say is like doing maybe 5 minutes is better than nothing of movement. So starting with what you can rather than also following like the perfect guidelines. And different bodies are different. So some people will tell you I have energy at 11 a.m. Other people will tell you I have energy right before iftar, and this is when I love to work out. For me personally, I can't. I have to work out after iftar. So this is what works for my body. So it depends on like really reflecting on when do I have the most energy during my day when I'm fasting, and choosing that time to move, and any movement would be beneficial. I think any movement will give like benefit. It will help you with the blood circulation, with digestion, with the mood, and also with energy. Because some people say, I don't have energy to move, but when you move, you're gonna have more energy.
Interesting.
So
Based on the individual.
That's so true.
Yeah.
As well, we know in Ramadan, the main, I would say, character in Ramadan is atayef, right? The sweets and all of these things. And they are so good and so yummy. But people who, let's say, are trying to cut out sugar, what would you say is like an alternative to sugar? Of course, because sweets, it's like, we can't just be like, hey, no, you know, like there's like atayef and you're like...
Okay, so when it comes to sweet, I know a lot of people crave it more in Ramadan. So the first question that I would advise them or invite them to ask themselves is that, is there a healthier alternative to the sweets that I'm craving? So let's say they're craving, I don't know, I need to find a good example. But let's say they're craving a type like kalej, okay, which is fried and very high in sugar.
Sounds delicious.
It is delicious and crunchy and all of the so I would ask them, is there an alternative that would give you the same satisfaction that's maybe a bit more nourishing to your body? If the question is yes, then go for the more nourishing alternative. Like I know, for example, halawat al-jabn is actually lighter, okay, because it has a bit of cheese, it has like the ashta, which is also lighter. So in terms of its effect or its impact on your blood sugar, it's could be less than other sweets. So if this will give you satisfaction, then by all means go for it. If like there's there are a lot of like health, like more nourishing alternatives on Instagram recipes that people can explore with, things that are with dates. So if these are giving them satisfaction, amazing. If not, don't deprive yourself, but start with like we go through the same process of starting with a small quantity, really enjoying, really eating slowly, and not feeling like no, I can't have it, I'm not allowed to. Because at the end of the day, when you deprive yourself, you need a lot of willpower, right? And willpower around food, you can have it for a limited period of time. And it's always the case. So you're gonna be like, okay, first day I'm not gonna eat, second day I'm not gonna eat, third day I'm not gonna eat. But every day you're looking at it and you're feeling like, no, I want more, I want more. So it's gonna create this buildup of deprivation and buildup of craving. And then there's a day where you're gonna be either stressed or you didn't sleep well, or you fought with someone, or there's something that triggered you, and you're not just gonna eat one. You're gonna eat the whole thing.
That's true.
You know. So to avoid that, I recommend not letting yourself get to the deprivation and not building up this craving. If you really feel like having it and there's no healthier alternative that will satisfy you, then go for it.
Go for it. We're going to leave it on a sweet note. So we've actually gone way over time, and I feel like we have. We could sit here for days talking to you. So before you leave us, we have to leave it on a sweet note. And you did say go for it. And our producer Masa asked, what is it? The one sweet that you recommend?
The one sweet that I recommend
that we can have. Glorious amounts of. No, for the day. For the day that you've had the fight. You've had a long day at work. If I am going to treat myself, what am I treating myself with? And I also wanted to ask you what you thought about Vimto and Tang and all of the nice drinks. But our time is run out.
So I don't know, like it's a tough question because everyone loves something else. Like some people love things with chocolate, some people love things with like Arabic sweets. So it depends on what they like. So I would say the sweet that you love the most.
And very quickly, Vimto, Tang, what are your thoughts?
They're very high in sugar. So like I wouldn't recommend having it every single day, but also like I wouldn't want people to feel like super deprived. So finding like an alternative to it that they can also have at iftar, like maybe flavored maybe sparkling water or something, or as I said, like the yogurt. So finding an alternative to it. But then if they want to have it, I wouldn't recommend it to be like an everyday thing, because it's high in sugar and it's going to impact the blood sugar and it's going to increase the insulin and all of these things.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow.
If people want to find out more, how can they reach you?
They can reach me on Instagram. My account is actually my name. So it's Rola Ghaddar. Yeah.
I'm so sorry to cut that short. You've been very insightful.
There's one more place they can reach me. I have a podcast. It's called Mish Diet. So not a diet.
Yeah.
And I share a lot of tips and insights. It's in Arabic though.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Amazing.
You'll learn Arabic.
I know.
For sure.
Teaching us everything we
I'll
need.
translate it to you.
It's going to take me time. Teaching us everything we need to know about intuitive eating. Thank you so much, Rola Ghaddar, for joining us on the show.
Thank you so
Thank you for having me.
All we have time for. We're back with you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.